the Thoroughbreds, not Secretariat, not American Pharaoh, none of those. The first state champion wrestling thoroughbred joins us today, sir. If you would tell us who you are.
My name is Roy Gibbs, Harrison County.
And of course, the pride of Cynthiana there in 1992, 130-pound state champion. So, Roy, man, we've been trying to get together for a long time. I'm glad that we're finally able to get the Zoom linked up and finally let the world see just what was going on in Harrison County in 1992. You guys had a really good team that year. I think it's to date your highest placing as a team. I think it was third place. Am I correct about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You had, of course, you in the finals. Eric Dingus, he wrestled Roby again from Caldwell County. Of course, Eric comes up, a little bit nevertheless in the finals. Do we count Jason Moore being good on that team?
I think he is. He had some bad history. All right, some people just have bad tournament history, but I believe he probably would have been the first state champion coming out of our county if he wouldn't have ran into those. He's a stud. He's a Kentucky Hall of Famer, in my opinion. The things he's done with Kentucky, what he's given back, what his family's given back, crazy what they do.
Yeah, whenever I was, we got lined up, I was thinking, all right, how can I throw shade at Jason Moore and be, you know what I mean? And I was like, I think that's the best way. But no, yeah.
Well, he was my wrestling partner for all 4 years, right?
Yeah, he told me that, and I'm not sure if I was at his house when he told me that, or in somewhere in person, or because we went up the first time and done Spencer's and Ryan's. We done Ryan's 17 and 18, and then Spencer's 19 and 20 there at their house. And it may have been there. I can't remember, but it was somewhere along the way. But, man, two youngsters getting into wrestling and maybe your school's just starting up, you might be good, but when you have a great wrestling partner, it's going to show. That's just the facts. I mean, doesn't matter how many camps you go to. If you're not being grinded on every day, if you're not making each other better, something's wrong. That's just the way it is.
That was a hell of a team, though, all the way up. I mean, our lightweights all the way through. Eric Dingus was a stud himself. We had Ryan Franklin, who was a stud in there. We were stacked, right, in that senior year. But we had a good coach, right? We had a Hall of Fame. Eric Dingus, his father, was assistant coach, but the head coach, Steve Emerson, was out there driving us. Had good routines for us to do. It was just a good nucleus for us to be developed.
Absolutely. Now, I want to correct something here. The 1992 team standings, of course, Hopkinsville, the Willie Ennell show, wins it in 92. Woodford come in third. Woodford come in second. Simon Kenton come in third. And then you guys come in fourth with 98 team points. So just absolutely –
So we got third at the state duels. That's what.
Okay, third at state duels. All right, yeah. And the you had I believe Chris Kinney was on that team at your 103. Yeah. I'm going through here looking at the brackets. That way I don't want to miss anybody.
Well, you'll probably remind me some things.
Jason Moore was your 112. Barry Zumalt was your 119. Let me see here. Bear with me here, fans. I don't believe a 125 made it. Of course, you at 130. I don't see a 135 in the mix. Let's look at 140 here real quick. Norman Reeves at 140.
Oh, yeah.
You had, don't believe there's a 45. 152, of course, Eric, state runner-up. I don't see a 60. Ryan Franklin at 71.
Yep.
189 Tobin. Looks like it was Billy Tobin.
Yep, Tobin.
And then I don't know about the heavyweight. Let's see here.
I don't
see a heavyweight, but nevertheless, you had 7 or 8, 9 weight classes represented. Back then, there was only 13 weight classes. So we like to start everybody off with I don't want to use the word standard, but a foundation laying question is what gets you into wrestling back in the late 80s in Harrison County, man? What was it that piqued your interest in it?
Well, that was before they had medicine for Ritalin, right?
Oh.
Back in the day. And in junior high, Rick Dingus, he was our PE teacher. He forced wrestling you'd play basketball as a thing. He forced wrestling. And so that introduced me to wrestling in my junior high. I liked it. It came natural. And so when we got into high school, he coached me in there. There were some other people that had families that were in the program and said, "Hey, they're going in." So they were my friends. I went in, and then that was Steve Emerson's first year as a head coach, and then the nucleus started.
So, do you start in what, seventh grade, eighth grade, elementary
Yeah,
school?
yeah. I started in seventh grade.
Okay,
Right.
I got you. That's cool. If memory, I've been to so many places and done so many reviews, they all kind of run together. But am I right in saying that you guys use like an older gym there on the Harrison County campus to practice in? Is that right?
Well, back in our day, right? So it's changed since then. We were using what was called our South Side Elementary School.
Okay.
So we
Yes.
rolled
Yes.
out
Yes.
the mats
Yes.
there.
Yep. That's. I think Eric said that or Josh said that. Josh Ashbrook said that when talking about moving the mats and stuff over
Yeah.
or whatever. Okay, so that it's all as who was it? It's all coming back to me now
Yeah.
in that song. So you get into high school. 1989, of course, is your first year, and let's talk real quick about your state tournament run because you were able to make it to the state tournament all 4 years. 1989, 103 pounds. You come in sixth place, but you unfortunately, I think you may have come up a little bit short in the first round, but you wrestle your way all the way back to making it to sixth place. You're wrestling, I don't know what his first name is, Hunter from Fairdale. I'm not sure what the guy's first name is. Nevertheless, man, as a freshman, you're placing sixth in the state. That's got to be a good feeling. Back
Yeah.
then, there was a different world back in that time.
Yeah, it was. The big thing that year was I was winning in regionals, and so back then it was regionals and state,
Right.
right? And I think we had 18 seconds left or something, and a person from Johnson Central I was wrestling, uh, John, I can't remember his name, so I don't want to say it if I'm wrong, but I was up by like 3 points or something like that. And my coach would say, cut him loose, cut him loose. And I was like, no, I got him. I got him. And he did a reversal and put me on my back for 2 points and beat me in the last 18 seconds. So I met him to get into a place holder, right? So that and
Was
I
it
ended up beating him there.
was it JJ Townsend by
There
chance?
you go. There it is. That's the
Okay,
man.
I got
He
you.
was a man too.
Yeah,
I
he's
won't take
tough.
anything from him.
Yeah. JJ was a longtime coach in Kentucky. He done had stints at Brown Station, Franklin County. I believe I think he was at Bourbon County for a few years. So he's, had a pretty good stint. But nevertheless, man, 103 pounds, 1989, sixth place.
Yeah.
1990, 112 pounds. You are wrestling Glenn Gray in the fourth place match. Glenn wins a 6-0 decision, so you come in fourth. So you're moving up on the podium. Sophomore, 112 pounds, good friend of the channel. Alex Ray wins the state championship that year. His review video is on the channel. 1991, 125 pounds. You unfortunately ran into Pat Martz from Connor in the semis. Pat wins an 11-2 decision. Of course, Pat's a 3-time state champion. You get to the fourth place match, and I believe you're wrestling a guy from Tate's Creek with the last name of Hall. You win a 7-5 decision. So sixth place, fourth place, third place. There's only 2 more spots
Yep.
to go on that
Yep.
podium, and I'm sure you're probably wanting that number 1 spot. But 1992, that's your year, man. 130 pounds. So when I say you guys, the team that we just read off, and even the guys that didn't make it to the state tournament or make it into the placement rounds or whatever, when you guys come into the mat room, start conditioning, maybe you've had a tournament or two, you're looking around, you're winning first place, multiple guys on your team, winning team trophies. Does it kind of sink in that, hey, we can do something special this year for Harrison County?
I'm sure some people were there. I was laser focused about I'm going to win, right? Jason, Eric, we were focused, and we were leaders of the team, and we were setting examples. And yeah, when we went in, we had the attitude. We had the chip on our shoulders when we went into those tournaments, and we were doing it. So probably we did, right. And we got into the state duels, and we had it. We weren't scared of anybody.
That's a great way to be. And if I think the state duels may have only had 1 or 2 years I think it started in 1990. If I'm not, I think it was 90, the 90 season or the 91 season. So it was good that you guys got to do it as seniors and get to get a third place. And back then it wasn't classed like it is now. It isn't split. It was everybody every man for himself pretty much. So
and back then, remember it was more tournament style.
Yeah.
Everywhere you went, you didn't have duels. Mm-hmm. I think they do today, right? There's a lot more duels happening today than back then. So
you're exactly right.
A lot of people didn't have a lot of mat time if you weren't good.
Mm-hmm. And I was gonna look. It doesn't have unfortunately, some years on the brackets have records, some don't. Do you remember your record your senior year?
40 and 1, 41 and 1. I just looked at that daggone thing somewhere.
Well, it's all right. 41 and 1, 41. It's a great record. And nowadays, kids are getting sometimes you hear them records like 62 and 0, 58 and 5. You're like, man, that's a lot of matches for a season. But let's talk about your 1992 state tournament run here. You start off the state tournament with a fall over Mike Couch from Connor. You go to the quarters. You're wrestling Eric Carr from Central Hardin. You win that by a fall. So 2 matches, man, 2 pins. It's gotta feel good, right?
Yeah, I was having a great tournament.
Yeah, and you get to the semis. You're wrestling a defending state champion in Pat White from Hoptown. Of course, Pat's 1991 videos on the channel, but you also pin Pat as well. So you pinned a defending state champion there, man. That's got to feel good. So 3 matches, 3 pins. You get to the finals. You're wrestling a gentleman from Simon Kenton. Now, of course, we're not going to tell you the score. We're not going to tell you the outcome. We have the face-off in the match video. But
let me talk to you about the semis. Yeah, I pinned Pat, but in doing so, I had dislocated my collarbone in that match, right? So he had hit me with a cross and came down on me and it pinched my shoulders together and it popped. I finished the match. I knew something was wrong, so went off, had the doctors look at it. The way it dislocated, they allowed me to continue to wrestle. They said if it would have popped out versus in or something like that, I can't remember which direction it was, it would have been a different story. But so then I had to, I had that time between semis to finals, and it was like, oh, I got to figure this thing out.
Yeah. About nowadays, of course, we're filming this on the 25th of April, 2024. We now, from the time the semis are wrestled in the mornings until the final starts, there's probably I don't know, 3 hours, 3.5 hours, maybe. About how long did you have back in
Oh, it was
19?
at least 6, I would
Oh,
say,
wow.
because I went back to the hotel.
Mm,
That much time to say, oh, we got to figure this thing out.
okay. Well, I guess that's good you were able to do that. And we've heard stories from guys who've won state or whatever, placed in state. They went back when it was in Frankfurt at the dungeon. They would go, if they were staying in the big, huge tower or whatever, they would go across and the coaches would tell all the team, hey, you stay in the arena, you three, you four, you go back to the eat, take a shower, take a nap, come back at this time. So it's kind of cool you were able to go back to the hotel. Um, Now you're not the first Harrison County wrestler in the finals because there was Duckworth in '88, a couple other guys that kind of slipping the memory here. I've got so many names in my
David
head.
McDaniel.
Yeah, McDaniel, and
Yep.
we've done review videos for both those. But you're in the finals. You've got a teammate in the finals. Does Dingus come up and give you any? That's Coach Dingus, by the way. I don't want to, pronouns go a long way. You know what I mean? Does Rick Dingus come up, give you any information? Does Emerson come up, give you like any secretive advice, or you just kind of take it as it comes? Or
No, no. Well, it was really me and Coach Emerson, right? He was my coach. So I'm focused there. We're talking. He's keeping me trying to focus. He knows the damage that's happened. I will say to the kids, whoever's watching this, I one of my proudest things, and I'll say this: I took no medicine, not even pain pill, when that happened. I was, hey, I am going to do this thing drug free, 100%. So we went there, and when I was trying to take off my jersey, I couldn't lift my arm. He had to take my shirt off to get myself ready for it. But no, he was just trying to keep me focused. And then once I get on a mat, they let me go. Right.
okay, I got you. No, that's I just was because I love hearing the stories about everybody's what they did in between time. Did they go rest? Were they so hyper they couldn't? Did they wrestle the match 10,000 times in
Actually,
their
Pat, who beat, what was it, Marks? Who
Pat
had beat
Marks?
me? Yeah, Pat Marks gave me advice. Hey, go get some carbs. Go carb up, because he was there at that tournament and said, hey,
Yep.
go do it.
And Pat, we have his 1988 and 91 finals videos on the channel. So after what you'll do yours, you want to go back and watch it. Kind of Pat's got his 1991 finals might be the most violent lightweight finals that we have on video. His when he was trying that nowadays they call it a twister in like jujitsu, but now it's the move is uh, slipping my head. Guillotine, the
Oh,
guillotine.
that was my move.
His guillotines, buddy, were how he didn't kill somebody, and I'm not speaking in hyperbole. I mean, he's got dude stretched, son, 6 miles long. I'm like, God Almighty, Pat, what are we doing here? So you were a guillotine guy too?
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes guillotine guys go good together. They give
I
each
did
other
get him once,
advice.
though. Hey, I got you once, man.
Oh, you beat Pat once?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, man. Now, you sent me a copy of this video. Um, Tell us about finding that.
Well, you'd contact me, and thank goodness. I mean, you kept at me, right? Because
Right.
I blew you off a lot. So kudos to you for staying at it. But I had actually lost it. I had boxes and stuff, and over 30 years, who knows where stuff is.
Right.
I've moved around, and so you got me looking, and I found a lot of the trophies and stuff. And there's a lot more stuff out there that I found, but I couldn't find that tape. What had happened was VCRs was what the thing was back then, right? So we had the tapes all the way up to the semis, and then my parents had switched them out to do the state finals.
Okay.
Well, that tape had separated somewhere. I couldn't find it. So my mom had finally found it at her house and said, "What's?" And so I found it. Then I had to go find a VCR that still worked to see if that thing worked, right? And then I was like, oh, there it is. So then I took it down and put it digital and then sent it to him.
Yeah, and that's great, man. We actually have two versions of this. We have the version that we got from our good friends at Woodford County, Harrison and Brent Courtney. They found it, the complete 1992 finals, and then you sent me yours, and so we've got a marriage here, if you will. We've got the Woodford County version of the face-off, and then your version of the match video. Now we're going to pull it up here. You're seeing what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Atherton Gym in Louisville.
So the lead into this, I had met this individual already 3 times this year. I met him at his tournament. I beat him at his tournament. He met me at my tournament. And the crucial part around this is when we went into overtime at my tournament. I paused for a second, and he took me down, and he beat me. And from that moment on, that was my one loss of the season, right? He beat me in my own home, right? And so I was never going to be outworked from that point on. So my conditioning went to the next level, and so. That's important because we'll talk about some of this where it comes in. But then I met him at the state duels. I beat him in the state duels. But when he beat me at ours, he said, hey, I'm going 130. And I said, that's fine. I am too. I ain't scared. And so we ended up again here in the state finals again.
And of course, we don't want to spoil it. It's a great match. Now I have no idea who's filming the Woodford County, what you're getting ready to watch, but who films your match side tape here? Who's filming it for you?
I think it might have been Rosemary Dingus. I'm not sure if my parents gave it to somebody on the team to video that for us. I'm not sure who was doing that, but for some reason it was somebody on our team. I don't know if it. There's no way my mom would have been able to hold the camera while I was wrestling. So I know it wasn't her.
Being kind of in a little bit of a small square, youngsters, if you're not familiar with it, we always just couldn't pull up our phone and film. We had these big, huge, looks like we're going to launch a bazooka camcorders on our shoulder that, it took 3 people to pack around sometimes. So I can see, parents not being able to focus in properly, cheering and all that kind of stuff when their son's out wrestling for a state championship. But man, we've talked enough about it, man. Let's go watch it.
Let's get at it.
30 from Harrison County, Roy Gibbs.
I love this right here. He comes out, handshakes, and you're ready to go. And they're like, wait. Come back and get a photo here. All right, we're going to go right into the match here.
All right.
Look how big that crowd is.
Yeah, we're in Athens, I think. Is that the school? I think
Atherton.
Atherton.
Yep. Now, of course, you're in the gold, yellow singlet there. Those are pretty sharp. From neutral, what's your go-to moves here, man?
I'm an outside single kind of guy. I don't really like tying up. Typically, this individual, he was a good tie-up. He does a lot of headlocks. That's how he really put me in trouble at his tournament as well. So, and in our state duels, he had put me in headlocks, but I was rolling through them. Okay. But so there was a different. I should never let him get too close on me with that much lockup time.
Yeah. Louisville to Cynthiana isn't really that far. Do you have like a lot of your family, a lot of classmates here, or you remember?
Yeah, I had quite a bit of friends. I mean, because we got a good wrestling family, and so there were people that come in. I felt like we had a good crew.
I got you.
And we took so many people too, right? Mm-hmm. So
yeah. Did Harrison County have mat maids back then?
We did. I don't know if we did it at this one. In some places we did, some places we did, and I couldn't remember if we had them on this one or not.
Okay, that's fine. That's cool. I was just wondering.
That was something new back in that day too.
Yeah.
You know, seeing mat mates.
Now, of course, you're down, but you're able to stand up. Were you?
Yeah, he could never hold me down. Yeah.
That's pretty
and
good.
this is me. This is my style the whole time. I'm always pulling my opponent in. I was never a hey, let's go out of bounds kind of thing. If you're going out, I'm bringing you in. I'm always trying for the point, going for something.
Out of bounds or neutral. There you go. You're working to the outside. There it is. You get a takedown.
Yeah, so I throw my legs in on that, right? And one thing about him, I never really. He always made me wrestle cautious because you just could never tell. Because he was a multi-state champion, right, in his own. So you had to be careful.
That is correct. You pull him back down.
Yeah. That was a really controversial one too, with keeping them. I believe one of these here in a minute where they the other coach thought that he got out, but there was a technical way of how I locked my legs, and that was something I learned through the year talking to the refs and stuff. And so there was a conscious way of how I had locked him so he wouldn't get out on me.
Now,
I look at this though. I thought I was a good wrestler. Now I look at this stuff. I'm like, oh man, there's so much stuff I could do different, or I would have coached myself so much different.
You know, so many guys that we've done videos with have said that over watching yourself. They're like, man, alive, I was horrible. How did I win? What was going on here?
Yeah, here it is, right? So I got that inside leg.
Yep, a Merkel.
Yeah.
Yep, you got the Merkel right there. That was a good call. You got Gene Washington as your official, and that's a right call, the Merkel. Now, is that your corner right there? Is that Davis and Emerson?
Yeah. So Emerson's got his knee down. He's telling me what to be thinking about.
You're up right now, 5-1. Your opponent's down, and he gets away right out of the bat. So it's 5-2.
What are we in? Are we in the third period?
Third period, yep. Okay. Third period. Nothing yet, nothing yet, nothing yet. We're still neutral.
Right there.
Nope.
But there it was.
Oh, my gosh.
Right. Over driving for it. The headache. He goes up now.
Yep.
On me.
He goes up. He's up 6-5 late in the third period.
And my coach is going crazy. He's like, ah! I was like, hey, it's okay. He can't hold me. I knew he couldn't hold me. I wasn't nervous here. I got this.
That's a good mentality to have, man. Especially after you've wrestled somebody 3 or 4 times in the same year. You kind of know what they're susceptible to. You know what you're good at, and you're able. You get your one right there. So we're tied up.
Yeah. So here at this time, I'm thinking my home tournament. Okay, he's not going to beat me. I'm not stopping. Right, I'm going.
Got to go forward, man. Got to go forward.
Yep. And that was
right there. Whenever first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh no, what's he doing?" But you were able to wrestle through it.
Yeah, that was a close one. I forgot about that. I don't remember it being that close, but when I'm looking at it, I was like, oh, shoot, that was close.
Woo.
Look at all that bad form.
Nothing yet, nothing yet. You're doing a good job of staying in. Man, 1992 had some really good wrestlers. Bobby Van Hoos, Johnson Central.
And so he's cranking on my dislocated shoulder right there.
Yep.
Right.
Bobby Van Hoos at 103. Tony Condi from Henry Clay, Bruce Stepp, Willie. The heavyweight from Holmes, I can't remember his name, Zach, I believe. You, of course, Roby and Dingus, man, that could have went either way.
Yeah, sure could have.
Willie Ennels at 160. All right, so we're tied going into overtime. And
so he got a cut. I don't know where it's in, but he got cautioned once.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't see it either, but he did get cautioned. You're right. And you don't have any.
Correct.
That may be important here in a minute, fans.
It is good to see it, though, right? It brings back some memories.
Oh, dude. You guys are wrestling hard. You really are. You got out of bounds.
Ooh, I almost had him. Again, just drive. He's not getting the first move on me.
Yep. Absolutely. Put the pressure on him. Shoot him out of bounds. Right there, exactly what you just did. Yep. He gets hit for stalling.
Yeah,
you get the point.
Fight in. Eric Asbury, if anybody knows him, he was a savant on wrestling.
We win by a final score of 7-6.
Yep. Obviously, there's a lot of people who didn't agree with that. I'll go down. I know it was the right call. I was putting pressure on him. He was backing straight up.
That was a good call, and it's got some footage of you coming off the mat here. There's our good friend Tony Condi warming up for Henry Clay.
That's when the arm and all that stuff starts kicking in. It's like, oh, give me
I guarantee it.
Yep, I'm done.
And you can, what's the old saying? You can be tired tomorrow. You can be in pain tomorrow.
Yeah. But no, those are memories, man. Alex, you brought that back for me. It's just something I kind of let go a little bit. You let those are old days. But boy, when you have them, you have somebody that has some history there. It's fun bringing it back for a moment.
Oh, absolutely, man. And that's one of the things I love about doing the series is, for years there in Harrison County's trophy case, there was the photo of you and your opponent there that were taken before the match. The one of Eric and Roby there. But now all the student body, the wrestlers that are wrestling now, both boys and girls team in Harrison County, the wrestlers that are walking the halls that may not have an interest, but maybe they can watch this video or elementary, middle school, because Harrison County, it seems like they have 5,000 kids on their elementary and middle school teams, and even their high school team.
Well, Josh is building a program out there for sure. Yeah. I'm so proud of what he's doing out there.
Whenever Josh brings his team to a meet and you just look and you're like, where does the line end, Josh? How many kids do you have? You've got like 500, man. Did you bring 3 buses? What are we doing here? And it's good to see, though, man. And, of course, you become Harrison County's first ever state wrestling champion. Of course, you in 92, Kevin Case in 1996, Brandon Barnett 2010, and then as of this filming, the past season, Jackson Wells won it at 106, and then George Dennis won it at 120. And
which one went undefeated? One of them went undefeated this year too,
George,
right?
I believe it was George.
Yeah, that's pretty daggone amazing.
Yeah, George, of course, he was in the finals last year and come up a little bit short against Braden Blevins of Simon Kenton. But George, I don't want to put the announcer's jinx on him or the media jinx, but
don't do it to him. Don't do it to him.
Yeah, we could be doing a couple or 3 review videos with him, man. He's tough. He really is. I told him some because he's real good at he's a takedown cut machine. I mean, he will tech fall everybody. And I told him one day, I was like, I don't enjoy refereeing you because all I do is 2-1, 2-1. I mean, fast he can take him down, he's cutting them. I was like, gee, I just stood back one day. I was like, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. Just a great, solid program there at Harrison County back in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, even today. Josh got his girls team rolling there. They had a couple in the finals, I believe, this year. I don't know the exact number, but they'll be in the hunt in that girls race. They got some studs coming up in their youth program, and we just like being able to share the history, no matter if it's Harrison County, Sheldon Clark, Christian County, Trinity, Johnson Central, whoever it is. We just want the world to see there's been some good wrestling in Kentucky. It's just been hid for far too long. And if I've got to be the face, the voice, the personality that brings Kentucky wrestling to the masses, to the front of the line, then daggone it, I'm happy to be our leader. But it's without guys like yourself that's come before and the stories and the matches and the dislocated shoulders, it's the series can only speak for the content, the stories that we tell. And it's great that we were able to, finally get up with you and tell us about all those plaques you got behind you. I think I see is that a bum or a yellow jacket behind you there?
You know what? I put that. I found this. I pulled that out. I always see you got some Woodford stuff. I got 2 of them here. This is 1990 and that's the 91.
Okay,
right?
That's cool.
So I found that. Up there we have my outstanding wrestlers 92 state champion stuff. Matt made a lot of the Harrison County stuff. We have I got also the Harrison County Board of Education Award for contribution for there. All right. And then just this year with the other 2 great state champions that hit this year, I got entered into the Harrison County Hall of Fame. So that was a great honor there. And thanks to Josh and allowing me to come and relive some of that with that group there as well. So, that's good stuff. It brings me back,
Oh, yeah, man. Absolutely. And that's what we've said in so many videos is, we don't go around wearing our state championship rings or our medals or Letterman jackets or, hey, look at me. I was this. But when you look back at your life and you say, yes, I was on the wrestling team, I was able to win a state championship, but in doing that, it shaped my life into what I am today. It gave me, the ability to say, like you said earlier, nobody was going to be in better shape than me. Nobody was going to, outwork me. And I can fight through the pain of a dislocated shoulder and still win. I know what my best is. I know what I'm capable of. And that's what I love about this is hearing the struggles people have that they've been able to overcome, because we don't really know what part of a video is going to speak to somebody that may be watching your video and going through the same thing. You know what? I dislocated my shoulder. And, if he was able to fight through it, maybe I can too. Or, who knows? Who knows what the scenario is or what the story is. It's just being able to tell the story and letting the world know Kentucky wrestling, we're not at the bottom of anybody's totem pole. We made our own totem pole. We are right. Kings of the show, baby.
I'm in my 50s now, right? So I have a little more wisdom. if you allow me a moment,
Yeah, absolutely. Go
I
ahead.
think that's some great stuff you're talking about. But talking to those people that are those young kids now that are maybe watch this, and it's not necessarily to the ones that are winning, right? It's the ones that are putting the grind in on the mats, may not get the medals, may not do that, right? What wrestling gives you, it's a fortitude, right? You're building an internal fortitude. You don't understand that right now. The conditioning, the mental thing that you're doing to yourself, it's all a mind. It's 90% mind, right? And being conditioned in that has taken me. I was never the smart person in the room. I'll tell you that right now. I was the athletic person, right? But when you get older, maybe that athletics not going to take you as far as the brains are, right? So that put me in some tough situations, but I always was able to come through that because of what wrestling gave me. So you can use those things, those skills, that confidence that you're going to build, that you can make it through anything if you can make it through that wrestling practice. And you're not always going to have to be number one in everything you do, but you say, hey, I can get it done.
Absolutely, man. That's a great. I think that's a great way to end the video. Can't really top it. Can't really add anything to it. So, man, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we've been on, trying to get it lined up for a while, and I'm glad that we were able to get it done. Let the Harrison County crowd, the 1992 crowd, everybody that remembers you, be able to watch it and just enjoy the memories, man, the
That's
family,
right.
friends, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like I said, man, I'm glad we were able to do it. So,
Shout out to
Roy,
my Harris County guys. AKT, baby.
uh, what does that mean for those not from Harrison County?
A killer thoroughbred.
A
Wink,
killer,
wink.
okay. AKT, a killer thoroughbred. I like that. I like that. So to all the breds out there, they're the thoroughbreds and the fillies. We know you guys and girls are gonna enjoy this. Your first state champion, and he laid the foundation. Hey, we can do it here in Cynthiana. We don't just make post-it notes. We're not just the home of Joe B. Hall. We're not just the home of the creators and the writers of The Walking Dead and all that kind of stuff. We're not just horse country. We can wrestle in Cynthiana, daggone it.
That's
We can
right.
wrestle in Cynthiana. So we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you all for watching. We will see you thoroughbreds and fillies on the mats.